Ballots by mail seem to be more prevalent in certain regions of the country and with particular types of homeowner associations. This is most prevalent in vacation or resort areas where it can be more difficult to gather members together for an annual meeting. While voting by mail can be an effective method, it is fraught with details and is probably the easiest form of voting to contest. Associations many times shy away from this process because of the added administrative cost. Multiple mailings and material costs can easily quadruple the cost of a single annual meeting notice mailing. Another aspect other than cost is that it can be frustrating and expensive proposition if it is determined that some aspect of the mailing was not done correctly, and thus invalidates the entire election process. First, the state statutes and the governing documents must be reviewed to ensure there are no prohibitions on ballots by mail, or possibly if there are any additional requirements that must be met. Guidance from the association's attorney should be sought to advise on any applicable statutes. Nominations can be more problematic aspects of ballot by mail. Problematic in that the board of directors must make all reasonable attempts to ensure all interested members are given the opportunity to be nominated. What follows is a typical ballot by mail process, but is by no means a substitute for the association's attorney's guidance. First and foremost, the provisions in the governing documents addressing a nominating process must be followed. If there are no specific provisions on nominations, the board can draft a letter to the membership asking members to run for the board and to have their names placed on the ballot. The letter should specify any requirements for serving, such as being in good standing. The letter should note the date of the election, when the elections will be held, and the number of open board positions. A nomination form should also be included in the mailing. Both the solicitation letter and the nomination form should indicate the date when the nomination must be returned by to be placed on the ballot by mail. The deadline to return completed forms must be reasonable, considering the delivery time of the initial mailing and the turnaround time. A 30-day or more response deadline is common. A mailing address to return the nomination form and other delivery options should be noted, if available, such as by fax or email. Some associations include a self-addressed stamped envelope to help facilitate the ballot being returned. Short biographies of themselves and their reason for their wishing to serve should be encouraged to be returned along with their nomination form. This material will be mailed along with the ballot mailing. A limit on the amount of nominee information to be submitted must be established. If there is not a reasonable limit established, the remailing and copying expense may be excessive. The board should establish a set amount of space or a word limit to any biographical or campaigning material to be mailed. This established limit must be adhered to by all. If this limit is not adhered to, one candidate may believe another candidate received an unfair advantage. Promptly at the beginning of the next business day after the due date, all the completed nomination forms should be compiled or certified as received by the board secretary or by the committee established for such purpose. For the association's records, this list of nominees should be signed and dated by 2 board members. The sequential mailing should be completed as soon as possible. This mailing should include the annual meeting notice along with the ballots. Both the notice and the ballots should include wording to the effect: to be counted, ballots must be received by the inspectors of election by the close of elections held at the annual meeting. Governing documents or state statutes may have requirements that all voting be done by secret ballot. If this is the case, the actual ballot should be free of anything that could be construed by the voter as a requirement to identify themselves. This could be something as innocuous as a line that could be mistaken for a signature line. Therefore, a secret ballot must be free of signature, address, places, or space that could be construed as such. Typically, how this secret ballot process is accomplished is similar to how municipalities process absentee ballots. The process involves 3 envelopes, a signature page or a card, and a ballot. The first ballot envelope is for the initial mailing, along with 2 sequential smaller envelopes. The larger of these 2 envelopes is self-addressed back to the association, and the last smallest envelope is for the ballot. Note on this small envelope, that the following: ballot only and seal. Place in self-addressed stamped envelope. The signature card should have instructions on completing and returning the ballot, especially emphasizing the deadline for returning the ballots back to the association. Name, address, and signature make up the substance of the signature card. Some associations may require that the signature card be signed by witness or witnesses, attesting to the members completing the ballot. The signature card should be too large to fit into the ballot envelope to avoid members placing the two together. The returned envelopes with the ballot envelope enclosed should be presented to the inspectors of election at the meeting's election. The inspectors of election should first open the envelopes and verify the signature card against the meeting's sign-in sheet. This is to ensure that no member who submitted a ballot by mail attended and received another ballot at sign-in. If members are not automatically mailed ballots and they must be requested, this can also be addressed at sign-in by noting who was sent a ballot on the actual sign-in sheet. If an envelope is returned without a signature card or a properly completed signature card, the envelope and ballot envelope should be set aside as well. The counting of ballots cast at the meeting should not be commenced until all ballots by mail have been verified. At that point, the verified ballots by mail and the ballots cast at the meeting should be combined. It cannot be stressed strongly enough that this entire process, voting by mail, should be reviewed by an association's attorney well versed in homeowner association law. If one step of this process is done improperly or deemed improper, the election could be deemed invalid.